Hi again. Welcome to House Groups. Here are some more of our clips from today's question. Is there more than one way to God, or is there more than one way to heaven? What's your name?
Jeff?
All right, Jeff. We're asking people just tough questions today on what they believe. Do you think that there is, like, one certain way to heaven, or do you think that anyone can get there through any religion, or what do you think?
I don't really believe in an afterlife.
So for you, like, if a tragic semi veered off Washington or whatever that is over there, and you and I died together holding arms, do you think that you would just cease to exist then, or?
Pretty much.
So for you, would you say that any sort of like religious belief that anyone has, is that pointless, or?
No, I don't. I think religious belief is very important to give meaning in people's lives. And, as long as it's in the context of their life and it's not harming anybody, I don't see any problem with it.
Do you think that there is more to get to God, to get to heaven? Do you think there's more than one way, or do you think that people have to accept Jesus Christ? Is that the only way to get to heaven?
That is a tough question. I would say that accepting Jesus Christ, just saying that prayer, and accepting Christ into your heart is not the only way. I would say that there are some biblical verses that say that just calling on the name of the Lord and just knowing that he exists and that he is your God would save you, just because of people that haven't been reached by the gospel, who don't necessarily know who Jesus Christ is, but they know God. Like, God has reached their heart. I believe that God would save them too, just because he's a loving God.
So what would be an example of that? Like someone, would you say like someone who, is there a way to articulate that?
I wish. I don't want to say it's just anyone who thinks God exists, because there's a lot of people that do, and I can't answer that.
Would you say like someone who lives in an area where they haven't heard a lot about who Jesus is, and they sort of like would live for him if they had the chance to, like that type of person? Or
I think, yeah, and ultimately, obviously, it's up to God, and God knows where people's hearts are, and like you're saying, if they would or would not accept the gospel of Jesus. But I think that just people that call on his name and realize that there's something bigger than this, and I'm going to serve whoever created this with my life.
do you think that it really matters, like what religion you are? Like, is this sort of just irrelevant, or?
It's not irrelevant. I mean, it's very important to individuals who take pride in it, and I think that's great to believe in things. It makes you a better person, but I don't think whatever your beliefs are, you should use them against other people. You should only use them to better yourself and foster a more, peaceful world in general.
But you wouldn't feel comfortable saying that like certain religion was more right than another religion?
No, I don't. I mean, who are we to know? We can't know. We can only have faith, and that comes from, who knows where that comes from. But I think there are certain practices in certain faiths that are presently being used in negative ways, more so than good ways.
Do you think that there is more than one way to get to heaven, or do people have to just believe in Jesus? How do you think that works?
With Jesus? Yeah. I believe that you need to have Jesus in your heart and come before him with a repentant heart. I don't believe that means that you have to become perfect, but I do believe that you need to come down to a point where you become completely humble before the Lord and know that you need him to be able to go on with life, and you give him your heart and just become humble again.
And what about, like, let me give you a mock scenario. What if, like, say you're a Native American in the year like AD 300 and you've never heard about Jesus, because missionaries haven't come over. Like, what do you think happens to that person?
That person, I don't know. I think that's the same thing. I mean, what happened there? But I mean, I don't think we will know until we get to heaven. And because if you don't get preached the gospel or even know about Jesus, how can you be? So I guess we'll know when we see Jesus up in heaven.
Do you think that there is one way to get to heaven, or more than one way?
I think there's more than one way.
And so you wouldn't just have to be a Christian?
Again, that's a difficult question. I would say the answer to that would be no. I think that ultimately, according to the scriptures, depending on how you interpret the way that those final days go down, my belief is that in the end, that it is through Christ that one attains heaven. He doesn't necessarily say what that means or how that goes down. Okay. So I don't believe that, for instance, someone who is of a different faith system is immediately excluded. I don't think that that's inherently within the core character of God.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Emily Noble.
Emily Noble, I'm David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're asking people tough questions today. Do you think that there's more than one way to get to heaven, or is there only one way to get to heaven?
I've thought about this question a lot, and I actually believe that you can only get to heaven through Jesus Christ.
Okay, so you would say that, like, if someone grew up in a Muslim country or whatever, say Uzbekistan, right? Yeah, it ends with Stan, so it must be. And they were like a devout Muslim, and they were really passionate about their whole life. Would you say then that they wouldn't be able to go to heaven?
I personally think so, and I think that's where the church has to come into play. I think that's where, we need to send out missionaries and people who know the gospel and are just willing to go out there and share it with everyone else, because the world is lost and hurting, and we need to get that out there.